was like, that's exactly what my leaves look like. And it already died.
So they have potassium deficiency?
Yeah, it had a potassium deficiency, yeah. Depending on the plants, it'll look a little bit different, but for the tomatoes, it looked exactly like this. Just kind of burning, mostly at the edges, but kind of throughout. I thought I was just, like the sun was like literally burning my plant, but in terms of the temperature, it was perfectly fine. So yeah, it looks wilted, but I almost describe it as even burnt. And how about phosphorus deficiency, team 3? What does that end up looking like? What color?
Reddish purple.
Yeah, reddish or purplish. Yeah, so it can look pretty cool. Sometimes it looks like this. So it's at least a cool way for your plant to die.
How does a plant have a phosphorus deficiency?
So, well, I mean, if there isn't phosphorus in the soil, it'll just kind of run out. And actually what the plant does, it kind of goes into emergency protocol and starts diverting energy so that kind of a lot of the photosynthesis is just happening closer to the main vein of each leaf. And what happens to the sort of edges of the plant is they kind of shut down their photosynthesis and they go through, to just sort of stay a little sturdier, they start making what are called anthocyanins. You don't need to know this, but it's basically just something to make the cell a little bit sturdier. It doesn't require as much water as a result, and it doesn't require any phosphorus. But one thing that just happens as a side effect is when it's making these anthocyanins, they're purplish reddish in color, and so it makes the leaves look purple and red at the edges.
Can you reverse it just by giving them that phosphorus?
Yeah. Yeah, you give it phosphorus, and if it's not too late, then yeah, it'll start to regain its color again. It'll kind of, yeah, it's just a sort of emergency protocol for these plants. But yeah, that sometimes the edges will start to look reddish and purplish. Sometimes farmers and agriculturists, botanists will select for these traits, and this is actually one of the ways we get purple cauliflower. It's just regular cauliflower where they've kind of tweaked the soil for it to maximize the production of these anthocyanins.
Why would they?
Purple's cool. You're the one who said you wanted to do this. You thought purple was cool.
Oh, yeah.
See? Sometimes that's the only excuse you need. You're telling me if you see 2 cauliflowers priced the exact same and one of them's purple, you're not going to grab the purple one? You're not going to grab any of them.
I don't eat cauliflower.
Yeah, there you go. Well, then there you go. Fine.
I don't even know plants.
Fine. Abraham hates vegetables. We get it.
No, I just don't. I've never eaten cauliflower.
It's good. I don't like the cauliflower crust pizza thing though. I'm not a big fan of that.
What?
But yeah. It's a whole thing now. Yeah, pizza crust made out of cauliflower.
Yep.
Not a big fan of it, but some people are into it.
Cauliflower rice?
Cauliflower rice. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah.
I don't know what any of this is.
Yeah, well,
Basically,
you're not hip.
cauliflower cut up really tiny and cooked.
So that's just cauliflower.
Rice.
All right, so, okay, here there are a couple more critical thinking questions in the back, if anyone got to this. So the first one is talking about mycorrhizae. So a term from the previous exam come to haunt us again. And so it's this situation. So you're in charge of an experiment where in one set of pots you've got them in sterile soil, meaning there's no foreign fungi or bacteria in that soil. And then another set of pots that are grown in sterile soil that just has the mycorrhizal fungi in it. At the end of the experiment, one set of plants on average, those plants weigh 38.5 grams. The other one weighs a little bit more, 47.6 grams. You lost your notebook though. You're a crappy scientist and you don't remember which one is which. but you're pretty sure the plants with the fungi had the larger weight. Why do you think this might be the case?
The fungi retain more water.
What's that?
Fungi retain water.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the fungi retain water, might add more mass. What else? So, you know, maybe you say, okay, yes, I think it has larger weight. Maybe they have more water. Also, it's a plant with an extra stuff on it. Sometimes the explanation is obvious, right? The plant has fungi on it. So a plant with fungus, plant plus fungus equals more than just plant. But then a student comes in and says, you know, or a friend of yours says, you know, how can this be if mycorrhizal fungi are taking sugars from the plants? Shouldn't those plants be smaller? So now we're talking about a situation where maybe the fungi have been separated and the plant still weighs more than the other plant. Carlina? Yeah.
The plant makes more sugar than it needs, so it trades that with the fungus to get minerals, and it uses those minerals to get bigger.
Yeah, so maybe even if it is losing sugar and maybe it's actually needs some of that sugar, the payoff is still greater than that amount lost. So even if it, you know, wasn't producing too much sugar and excess of sugar, what it gets from the fungi, those nutrients that the fungi are giving the plant, kind of overcompensate for it. Remember that this is a mutualistic interaction, meaning both parties benefit. Fungi get something from the roots of the plant, but the fungi at the same time are kind of converting nutrients from the soil into usable nutrients for the plant that otherwise the plant wouldn't be able to access. And so if you're a plant in sterile soil without that fungi around, you're never going to be able to access those nutrients. You need the mycorrhizal fungi in order to access those. We'll talk about other agents of kind of this middleman for plants when we talk about different types of bacteria that plants use for nutrition. But what I want to talk about last on this is question 4 here about acid rain. What's that?
That's acid rain?
Yeah. So acid rain, acid precipitation, literally acid rain. Basically, it's acidic because it has all of these hydrogen ions within the water that's falling. Acidity is really just an abundance of hydrogen ions. So when we are talking about acid rain, which is a real thing, it's just water with an overabundance of these hydrogen ions. One effect of acid rain is it depletes the soil of nutrients, such as calcium, potassium, magnesium. So how does acid rain wash these nutrients from the soil? Anyone have any idea as to the process that causes, you know, acid rain falling on soil to result in those nutrients just going away?
You kill the soil.
What's that?
Kill the soil.
It kills itself?
Yeah, you kill the soil.
Oh, it kills the soil? Yeah?
I would guess.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
So you have water mixed with lots of extra hydrogen ions, and then you're putting it into soil that has like salts of these various potassium, calcium, magnesium. So
Yep.
that dissolves those salts into the solution, and then it just gets replaced with the hydrogen, and then the calcium and the potassium just wash away.
Yeah, so it's sort of like that. So when we're talking about soil, one of those components that we saw, those 3 major components of soil, which are sand, silt, and what's the third one? Clay. Yeah. Clay. All clay actually are literal clumps in the soil that are themselves negatively charged. So basically clay, if you think of soil as never this homogeneous mixture that's kind of evenly dispersed, what it actually consists of is kind of a sandy and silty the most of it is sandy and silty, and then clay clumps throughout. And the more clay there is, the more of these clumps there are. But they're all sort of negatively charged at the perimeter, at the outside of these clay clumps. And so if you remember sort of basic chemistry, negative likes positive, opposites attract. And so soil, usually the most of the nutrients are right at the edge of these clay clumps. So if you look at the wording of that question, question 4, all of those nutrients that it was talking about are positively charged. And so they're all kind of existing near these clay clumps. The thing is, when acid rain falls, it's carrying these hydrogen ions. And in general, the smaller the molecule, the better it is at actually binding to these opposites. And so what hydrogen kind of does is just push all these other nutrients out of the way. So when the acid rain hits the soil, it's just better at fighting for this position in the line. It'll bump the calcium out of the way.
So it just cuts in line.
Yeah, and then the acid rain brought with it, these hydrogen ions are inside of water, right? So once the calcium gets dislodged from the clay it was bound to, the water just as a result washes it away. So hydrogen pushes the positively charged nutrients out of the soil, and then the water that it came in washes it away. Does that kind of make sense how that works in that sense? So yeah, acid rain is just hydrogen plus H2O. The hydrogen moves the nutrients out of the soil, the H2O washes it away. So yeah, this is just a nature of most nutrients, not all, but most nutrients being positively charged, and so soil gets depleted as a result. It doesn't just, so acid rain on top of just burning your flesh off or whatever the movies have you believe, it also depletes the soil, which is even crueler than burning your face off. And for the last part, I'll kind of bring this up with a slide. Plant nutrition kind of often involves relationships with other organisms, non-plants. So we saw that a little bit with mycorrhizae. So mycorrhizae are fungi, so they're not even in the same kingdom as plants, but they form this important mutualism. They actually make it so that plants can thrive in soil environments. Without them, plants are kind of handicapped in a sense. They need that fungus in order to get some nutrients they couldn't otherwise acquire. They also rely on another kingdom, not just fungi, but specifically bacteria. So nitrogen is actually kind of the most limiting nutrient for plant growth. Without enough nitrogen, the plants can't grow big and tall. That's why most fertilizers are essentially just nitrogen focused. So if you kind of go to Garden Center or Walmart and get a bag of soil that kind of promises, good development of your fruits or vegetables, it's mostly nitrogen within that soil. They're sort of packed with nitrogen. The thing is, even though they need nitrogen, they can only absorb it in certain forms. So they can't just absorb nitrogen from the atmosphere. Nitrogen in the atmosphere just exists as N2, so 2 nitrogen atoms bound together. They can only acquire it in 2 forms. That's nitrogen in the form of ammonium and nitrogen in the form of nitrate. The thing is, this doesn't really naturally occur all that much. It's not just existing in the atmosphere or found in the soil by itself. It's a byproduct of what bacteria are in the soil are making. So the nitrogen cycle is an important cycle we'll kind of see throughout this module and in module 6 actually. And it sort of what it describes is this, specifically when we think of cycles, we're thinking of a circle, right? A loop that is continuous. And the nitrogen cycle can be thought of in terms of this atmospheric nitrogen. So nitrogen in the atmosphere starts off as N2. As it goes into the soil, there are some bacteria called nitrogen-fixing bacteria that will convert it into something else. Ammonia, which when bound to hydrogen ions makes ammonium. But basically there's a bacterium that can convert the atmospheric nitrogen into something usable, is the important point there. The plants can then uptake that nitrogen and then will release some of that nitrogen back when they die. It'll enter the soil. And then another group of bacteria will turn that back into atmospheric nitrogen, completing the cycle. So the important thing about the nitrogen cycle that you want to make sure you have down are what each of these really 4 main types of bacteria are actually doing. Some of them don't provide any nutrients to the plant. Some of them do, but what they're converting differs from bacteria to bacteria. So for example, there's only one bacterial type that turns that atmospheric nitrogen into something the plant can use. We call those nitrogen-fixing bacteria. It's basically fixing the nitrogen that's in the atmosphere into a way that the plant can absorb. The other type of bacteria converts ammonium, it converts nitrogen into ammonium, and these are called ammonifying bacteria. This one might be the easiest one to remember because it has the word ammonium in it. So ammonifying bacteria turn something into ammonium. And what they turn into ammonium is mostly, it says dead organic material, it's poop. It's mostly poop and dead bodies.
So fertilizer.
Yeah, that they'll turn from those amino acids into ammonium. So ammonifying bacteria goes from poop or dead organisms to ammonium. Nitrogen-fixing bacteria gets nitrogen straight from the atmosphere into ammonium. And then there's this sort of middleman bacteria called nitrifying bacteria. So plants can soak up ammonium. They can get their nitrogen that way, but they can also get nitrogen in this form called nitrate. So instead of as ammonium, as nitrate. And there's a bacteria that just converts ammonium to nitrate. And these are called the nitrifying bacteria. So 3 different bacteria convert nitrogen into something usable for plants. And then there's just a 4th bacteria, which doesn't give anything to the plants. All it does is it completes the nitrogen cycle. What it poops out is essentially atmospheric nitrogen, and it'll complete the cycle that way. In Module 6, we'll learn about a bunch of different cycles, and we'll revisit the nitrogen cycle. But it all comes down to bacteria giving nitrogen to plants from nitrogen in the atmosphere. So that's kind of one of the main ways plants get nitrogen. Some plants also have kind of weirder nutritional adaptations. When nitrogen is particularly low in an environment, they resort to less common ways to get that nitrogen. And so you've probably heard of the carnivorous plants, like the Venus flytrap. There's a lot of nitrogen in living organisms, particularly animals, are full of proteins, which are full of nitrogen. So Venus flytraps and other carnivorous plants, like pitcher plants, that's a victory bell and a weeping bell in Pokemon. The Venus flytrap, which is a carnivine in Pokemon. Basically, they resort to capturing animals alive, disintegrating them, and then getting the nitrogen straight from that source. So kind of a cool mechanism for them to just get nitrogen. There are 2 other kind of lesser known ways plants will get resources. Some of these are called epiphytic plants, so epiphytes. They are sort of kind of just taking advantage of a good situation. They live off of trees, but they don't take any resources from the tree. They sort of just grow on that tree, and they can collect water and any kind of nitrogenous compounds that fall in them. Usually they'll be shaped in almost this kind of bowl shape where the water can pool up, and they can get their resources that way. And then the last one are parasites, parasitic plants. These we aren't talked about much, but especially within the next month, you will all be kind of familiar with one parasitic plant. That's mistletoe for the Christmas season. Mistletoe is actually a parasite. It will bind to kind of oak trees and other trees and just leech off of it. I don't know where the tie between that and kissing under the mistletoe came from, but mistletoe, there you go, is a parasite actually, just lives off of other plants. All of these adaptations primarily used to kind of get access to nitrogen, just the different unique ways that they went about doing it. So that's kind of the gist of plant nutrition. When we talk about nutrition, I kind of show you first the system that plants develop and then what animals move on to. But before we move on to animals, any questions with the plant nutrition? You want to be familiar with what mycorrhizal fungi do, the different types of nitrogen-fixing bacteria, and their relationship to the nitrogen cycle. And you want to be just sort of aware, but not know you don't need to know the heavy details, but just know that these three different adaptations exist in plants too: epiphytes, parasitic plants, and carnivorous plants. But they all sort of add to this story that plants are constantly kind of relying on other organisms to get their nutrients. All right, well, if there are no questions, then we can move on to animals, where things get a bit more interesting, in my opinion, because animals are closer to home for us. Understanding animal nutrition gives us a better understanding of nutrition and digestion in humans as well. So first of all, when it comes to nutrition and the way animals acquire food, is regardless of the animal we're looking at, whether it's this kind of python or something as simple as one of the sponges that we saw early in Module 4, nutrition and acquiring nutrients always involves 4 steps. And those are ingestion, digestion, absorption, and elimination. So we constantly go through this process whenever we're eating food. Ingestion is literally just the process of it kind of getting into your mouth. So this python right now is kind of in the act of ingestion. It goes in. Once it's in there, in your mouth, and that mouth, you've kind of shut your mouth and started chewing. This is the first step of digestion. Digestion starts at that chewing process. You send it down your gullet, down your esophagus, into your stomach. This is all digestion. Once it gets into your intestines, though, after the stomach, we enter the absorption phase. So at the point of the intestine, the food has been kind of churned up to a high degree. The intestines are in charge now of absorbing those nutrients. And then lastly, just like the book says, everybody poops. That's elimination. So we're going to kind of walk through this process, but the digestion one is one that can be broken up in 2 ways. So, ingestion is just getting it into your mouth. Elimination, pooping, right? Absorption, uptaking the nutrients. So getting from, the sort of hollow part inside of your intestine into the actual cells themselves. That's the absorption. Digestion can happen one of two ways, and we call them mechanical and chemical digestion. So mechanical is just kind of physically breaking food down. So when we chew, that's mechanical digestion. We're literally getting a big piece of whatever it is and making it smaller. Mechanical digestion. Chemical digestion is whenever molecules and enzymes are involved. What kind of we often take for granted is when we're chewing, we're also chemically digesting. What do you produce as you're chewing?
Saliva.
Saliva, right? And saliva actually has an enzyme in it that starts to break down starches. So some of the nutrients in food. That enzyme is called amylase. But yeah, it basically starts the chemical digestion process too. So, digestion evolved from something, and like I said, even the most rudimentary animals have these 4 steps of ingestion, digestion, absorption, and elimination. So when we look at some of the most basic organisms like a hydra, or more familiarly, a sponge, their digestive system is extremely simple. They just have what's called a gastrovascular cavity. It's also referred to as an incomplete digestive system. The reason it's called incomplete, when we think of a complete digestive system, you kind of have an entrance and an exit. Sponges and some other more kind of ancestral animals just have one hole, a mouth and an anus. It kind of goes in and goes out. It's two-way traffic. And basically what they'll do is kind of food, nutrients will enter the mouth, and then they've just got 2 layers of cells. Even though you can see a sponge grow very large, usually it's just 2 lines of cells. The outermost layer, kind of shown here in yellow, which just provides protection for that sponge. And then the inner layer, which is actually doing the absorption. It's kind of whatever nutrients hit that, the cell eats them up, and then it releases waste as well. And then the waste kind of comes back out of the mouth. So as food is coming in, food is also going out. So the analogy I usually use is Kirby here. Whenever he sucks in an opponent, he's basically a gastrovascular cavity. He kind of poops it out his mouth too. And this is how you can imagine these organisms with incomplete digestive systems. All goes in and out the same hole. And inside, just like you might imagine with Kirby, it's basically just hollow inside. It's just the cells lining his inside that are doing the work. But other than that, nutrients just kind of run into the cells and get absorbed that way. So when you think gastrovascular cavity and incomplete digestive system, maybe think of Kirby. We relate this, more on the gastrovascular cavity there. We compare this instead to Yoshi, where he also eats his opponents, but he poops them out as an egg. This is the complete digestive system. So an entrance and an exit, mouth and anus. And we refer to this no longer as a gastrovascular cavity. We call it an alimentary canal. So those vocab terms. Gastrovascular cavity really only applies to those with an incomplete digestive system. Most of the animals we think of have complete ones though. Basically, if you can think of an animal as having an anus, it's got a complete digestive system, and therefore an alimentary canal. And so, as we look at Yoshi, kind of going from into his mouth to out his anus, we're going to work on the last activity for the day, which I think is among the most useful activities you might do in this module. Because it basically sums up the digestive system in one page. It looks really complicated at first, but if you can kind of master this, then you've got the digestive system down, essentially. So what we're going to do is you have a word bank here, and we're going to try to complete the whole word bank of this concept map. So It might take a bit of time because you'll see kind of goes all over the place, but the main skeleton structure goes essentially from mouth to anus. If you imagine this as being a human body, this is, at the top is where the mouth is. It's going to eventually come out your culo, as my son calls it. Oh, you hurt my culo, Daddy.
How old is he?
3. Yeah, so I know, culo is like a more offensive word in some cultures. In Spain, it's like saying
Spanish.
tush.
Just funny, like, oh, what-
But it's gotten me in trouble a couple times already at daycare.
No.
Oh, I'm reading what it says right
Oh, I
now.
can't.
There's a word bank. Well, I'll probably open it up and we can get it there.
Oh, we can just, no. Okay. 1. Esophagus is after the mouth, so we can see it here, mouth. Start at the mouth. Can we do that?
Yes. Right down that.
After your mouth, can we
Go
agree
with
teeth?
esophagus. Esophagus, huh?
We have to. Okay, so our options are mouth, teeth, stomach, tongue. Ooh. Do you use your tongue, or your mouth,
You-
or your
it
teeth
goes
first?
It goes to your mouth, your teeth, then your tongue.
Yeah, and so try and get the
It's
easy
because
ones
remember,
out of the
if
way,
you put it in
because
your mouth,
then
it's
you'll be able to kind of
mechanical
rule
and then
out
chemical.
some of the harder
Okay,
terms.
gotcha. So tongue.
No, teeth.
Oh my.
Mechanical, chemical.
Okay.
Because your saliva, your tongue has
That's
the
afterwards.
saliva.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. And so then it's tongue. Okay, tongue has what?
Tongue is
Has
oh, sorry, tongue.
amylase. That's what you
Amylase,
said.
yes. Yes.
Yeah. It has that, which is like the spit.
Yeah, goes in amylase.
Has for chewing. Tongue has. Tongue has what? For manipulating food. Has most.
I actually don't know.
What's the little things on your
Back,
tongue?
what?
Like the little ones?
No.
What your tongue is made up of, like other than
I don't know.
maybe it's not like a
Okay, after this is this esophagus?
Like, are you talking about the urine? Or
No, that's the top.
That'd be a little farther down, I think. But
That's back.
What?
That's back kick.
okay.
Okay, let's just get that. After this is the esophagus.
Yeah. I can.
ESOPHAGU.
Food moves by.
Do I forget? This is a lot.
Moves by. Go esophagus goes to what? Your pancreas.
I wanna say
The small intestine isn't there. Wait.
I wanna say yes. Pancreas.
Yeah, research about pancreas. Oh yeah. It is. So it's pancreas, small intestine, large intestine.
I think large intestine, that's small intestine.
Well,
Oh,
here
no,
it's
no, no,
saying
no,
it
no, no,
down here.
no, no, it's small intestine, large intestine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
oh, he gave us
You gonna fill it out with what we have here?
I would just like, so it'd be easier for me to just to look.
Okay.
What number are you?
Right now, we just filled out 12.
Yeah, we just feel like
This 12 goes to the small intestine, you said?
12 is small intestine.
Okay. Oh yeah, and then it goes to large intestine.
12 is small intestine, and then it has, okay.
Pancreas and muscles, which is oblique. Okay. Circular. And what other? I'll say ileum.
I think you're right. Like, I'm trying to remember so much. I remember doing this my
Taking
freshman.
anatomy.
I remember doing this my freshman seminar.
No, some of them.
Yeah. I remember doing this my freshman seminar, but it was my first seminar. I'm trying to remember.
Pancreas.
Would 18 be anus?
What?
Would it? Is 18? Is it anus?
Oh, it says right there, right?
Is opening for.
Oh no, I don't think it's on here.
It's
Okay.
the opening for.
Okay, let's skip that.
Waist.
Open for waist. Yeah.
Opening.
Where would liver go? Liver would go. Liver would go on something near the small intestine. It would be right.
I think. What hangs like a curtain?
What hangs like a curtain, Professor?
What's that?
What hangs like a curtain? What hangs like a curtain?
What hangs like a, oh, hangs like a curtain, yeah. Well,
Okay.
we'll see.
What?
Roll out the obvious ones and then.
Okay. So where would the liver? Let's go. Where would the liver go? It would be something connected to the small intestine. I'd assume so.
Okay.
Or yeah, 'cause
Literally see some of it next in
Next
1102.
What are we doing next week?
Cut some shit up. Frogs.
Okay.
Frogs and fetal pigs will be able to identify this structure.
Will we each getting one, or?
I'm not sure. I think we might, with the frogs, we might have enough for one per person. The fetal pig, it's usually one per pair.
How big is the fetal pig?
It's a big.
It's like this big.
Oh my god.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
How much does it weigh? Oh, they stick?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They smell awful.
Oh, great.
You'll know when it's time to dissect the fetal pig.
You're gonna walk in and be like.
Yeah, you'll walk into the lab and you'll be like, oh, I guess we're dissecting fetal pigs today.
Mhm.
Before you see anyone.
After that, what else are we dissecting?
That's it. That'll be the last dissection.
And after that, how much left is there for the lab?
Just one sort of mini lab.
And after that, we're done? And we have to find them?
Yeah.
What about the
We're
failing
almost there.
students?
What's that?
What about the failing students?
Which one?
The failing students.
The failing students? Oh, well, yeah, that's extra credit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Digestive system is composed of accessory organs such as gallbladder, liver.
Yes, liver.
Wait, liver produces or liver breaks down? No, it produces, right?
What would a liver break?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Liver produces.
We have gingium, ileum, ministry.
Liver produces.
Oh, okay. Oh, here. Yeah, no. 18 is anus. 18.
Oh.
Yeah, there is anus on here.
Okay. Oh, that's.
Yeah. Absorbs nutrients. Stomach.
Where?
We have stomach. Stomach. Where would it go? Would it go stomach? Okay. Wait, food becomes.
Think of it kind of like putting, let's say, all your food in a blender, and then like food.
Isn't that pancreas an accessory?
Oh, Yeah, it would be esophagus, stomach. Yeah, it'd be esophagus, stomach. Right?
Esophagus, stomach, small intestine. Wait,
If stomach.
esophagus, small intestine, stomach, large intestine.
Wait, what was small intestine? Has. Where's the top of the stomach? Oh, wait. So would this be stomach? No, or would this be pancreas?
Stomach has to be.
Because this is stomach. So this is pancreas.
Isn't it what? You want to search up that? Only for that, everything else.
Yes.
Because if that's wrong,
I just want to see where pancreas is. Yeah, it was stomach, then pancreas.
at first.
Pancreas is in between large intestine and like it's on top of the small intestine.
Oh
So-
no.
So would it be this?
Oh no.
Where did you put liver?
Liver as an accessory.
Oh.
Not too sure.
And this is pancreas.
So it's not connected here then. Which fold? Body fold?
Body folds. Wouldn't that be pancreas? Where's fold? Where's fold? Where's fold? It might. Top of stomach would be pancreas. This is stomach.
What would be the top one?
Trying to figure it out. Where's the colon? And where's the colon?
Esophagus moves by. Deny. Esophagus moves. Food moves by. Cardiac sphincter.
Maybe.
That's all the way at the bottom. If I
Is it
remember that
sphincter like
correctly.
in the middle? It's cardiac. Cardiac. Like heart.
I'm thinking of what?
Would large intestine function to the colon?
Maybe.
Look at it. Would be the functions to where it has. Which I don't get how it would be this. Wouldn't be.
What would it consist of if it goes on 15?
Is what I'm trying to figure out. I don't think it would.
I think it absorbs nutrients.
So where would that go?
No, it functions to large intestine functions to absorb nutrients.
Isn't the large intestine exposed though?
It's to absorb like water or like stuff like that.
So it would be absorbed water. So it would be absorbed water.
Is there absorbed?
Yeah, it's right next to the colon. It's the,
Oh, then there you go.
yeah.
Nice.
27 absorbed water. And then small intestine would be absorbed nutrients, right? So that would be
I don't know what
food. So that would be
cardiac. The cardiac sphincter is the top of the stomach.
Oh, okay. Has anyone ever got this right, like without your help, like?
Without my help, yeah. Actually, there's, yeah, with the both semesters I've taught this, there's been at least one team both semesters that got it all right.
Maybe one of them was taking anatomy.
What's that?
Maybe one of them was taking anatomy.
Maybe, yeah.
The semester before. It's been in there.
You just have to have the confidence. Maybe they were just all confident. Think about that, Jose.
Maybe they cheated. Okay, so source nutrients. Where would you put source nutrients? It would be small. It would be small intestine.
Hold on, let's go back over here. Tongue has salivary glands for teeth.
What the fuck? So wouldn't it be? So wouldn't it be tongue? So wouldn't it be tongue? What the fuck? So wouldn't it be tongue? How did we not read that?
Salivary glands for
Hey. Don't worry, there's 4 other teams.
It's not a-
I wonder how far we're the teams are.
Maybe we were too confident.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, who here thinks they're halfway done? Okay, okay.
Guessing away.
Or 3/4 done.
No.
Alright. We'll do 5 more minutes and then we'll all go through this.
I'm gonna say tongue.
So wouldn't it be tongue, teeth? No.
Yeah, right?
Salivary glands for breaking down. Is that one of them?
Shit.
For not absorbing nutrients.
Oh.
No.
For producing.
Forest teeth.
Forest teeth?
Right? For
Yeah, cause chewing.
Wait.
So wouldn't salivary glands be
Forest
amylase?
teeth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, that makes.
The
wouldn't it be
mouth
teeth,
has
then tongue?
mouth has teeth for
Mhm.
chewing.
Wouldn't it be?
Wait, but tongue has.
I mean, well, your mouth has got 3 multiple things, right?
But wouldn't it be teeth first?
The-
After you put it in your mouth, wouldn't it be teeth?
It begins with the
Well,
mouth.
think about like,
and it has
after
teeth,
that word
which is for
has,
chewing.
right? The arrows just go in different directions. It's not in any order though, right?
Okay, so the mouth.
I mean, I would assume
The
it'd be
mouth
in order
has
because of
salivary
the
glands
nose.
for the tongue.
Ah, I see what you mean. No, I mean, just follow the arrows.
I think
though,
so, yeah.
So,
For-
So
Wait,
it's not. So the
but wouldn't
numbers
it be
aren't in any
has
specific.
tongue or
Doesn't make it go in
manipulating?
any.
they're like in a general, but not, yeah,
I
not
would've said-
necessarily like this
Right.
one comes first.
Manipulating.
Okay.
teeth.
So wouldn't this be amylase then?
For.
I would.
Wait. Or amylase for manipulating food?
No. I would say tongue.
No, so this would be
For
mouth.
manipulating. No. Function. Digestive functions to absorb nutrients.
Oh,
Oh, there.
okay, so that's a
nutrients and then yeah.
Okay, that's so confusing.
You got
We
that?
went in thinking we knew it. Okay.
You just
Salivary
mind
glands.
With consent.
No.
I don't know if I consented to all this.
I don't know.
Mouth has tongue. Okay, and then salivary glands for.
Not now.
I want to say the amylase.
What is a rugae? I don't know.
Producing.
Rugae?
Yeah.
I'll describe an easy way to remember it. Later.
Amylase. Okay, esophagus moves food. Wait, mouth goes to esophagus.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, food moves by. Okay, hold on. Peristalsis. Everywhere I go. I remember this thing. Peristasis. Peristasis. Now we go. I want to say peristasis. I want to say, but I could be wrong. I think I'm wrong. Peristasis. Peristasis moves the food, right?
Peristalsis?
Yeah.
She's getting it.
There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things.
Is this still recording?
Yeah.
Let it
She
record.
probably just got the whole tongue has salad. I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, this is the funny part. But
All right, so since I'm assuming everyone is done.
yeah.
Now let's go ahead and go through what we can. So first, I'll kind of treat it as a free-for-all. You get to choose. We'll go team by team, and y'all choose any cell you want to fill in that you feel confident about, and then we'll go through the rest. So we'll go in back. Well, we'll start with team one. Team 1A here.
We are?
The
What,
mouth.
what do y'all want to fill in?
Well, we want to
Mouth.
mouth. Yeah. One is absorbing nutrients.
1, absorbing nutrients. Everyone got that? Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So y'all good. Here, let me make my little texty
Okay,
box.
which one are we gonna choose?
Yeah, absorbing
We're gonna have to
nutrients
follow.
now. Okay, team 1B, what do y'all want to fill in? It doesn't have to be like, which one? 3, mouth. Yeah, there. Yeah, let's do. I mean, do the easy ones first, right? Someone else is gonna get them if not. Mouth. Okay, team 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, 11. The fundus going. All right, going for
Where's
the more
11?
difficult ones. Yes. It's the fundus, and we'll find out later.
Is it actually?
What that even is? Yeah, it's the top of the stomach.
Okay.
I have a way to remember that, but it actually doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
So might not be useful. But
Okay,
fundus
so-
comes from the Latin word, which in Spanish is fondo.
Fondo?
Al fondo.
But that would be more at the
The
bottom.
bottom, yeah, that's why it doesn't make any sense because it's the top of the stomach.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe the person who first found the fundus had the body upside down.
Yeah, he was upside down.
Yeah. How about Vincent? You wanna fill in one of these? Teeth, yeah, exactly. Teeth for chewing. Salivary glands for teeth.
Actually,
Teeth for
three is
chewing. All right, team 3. What do y'all want to fill in? Peristalsis,
I was
yeah.
right.
9 is peristalsis, yeah. It's this process where literally it's just kind of a tube, kind of constricting
It's
and
moving.
relaxing.
Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, it pushes food down. It also is why kidney stones are very painful. I'll explain that to my 1102 class.
How do you
If you're not in my 1102 class, then shame on you.
How do you
Team 4, what do y'all want to fill in? 6 esophagus, yes. The mouth goes to the esophagus, that makes sense. All right, team 5.
There's many ways to pass it through. A lot of purple.
Naturally or no?
17.
Oh, like a little.
Where even is 17? Oh, stores waste. The rectum stores waste, yeah.
I want to picture whatever.
Yeah, the stick count.
That's right. All right, back around the table,
17 is what?
or back around the room to team 1.
Waste.
Wait.
Okay.
We can do 18.
18 is anus.
18, yes, anus. You, Abraham.
What? What?
Team 1B, you're next.
Call me an asshole.
Which one?
13
Rugae?
Rugae.
Yeah, rugae. So that comes
Rugae.
from Latin. Rugaes are folds,
R-U-G-A.
literally wrinkles within the stomach. Spanish arrugas are
Arrugas,
wrinkles,
uh-huh.
hence the term rugae.
Okay.
So it's literally just wrinkles,
Okay.
stomach wrinkles. Okay, team 2 here.
I'm so curious. What's the curd?
Yeah, we're curious about the curd.
You wanna do 26?
26. All right.
Which hangs like a curtain.
Greater momentum?
Yeah, it is the greater omentum.
Greater.
Basically,
Greater
yeah,
momentum.
it's just kind of this like pretty thin film. We'll see it in the fetal pig a little bit. We'll also see another kind of thin film, which has a different name that maybe someone else will bring up in a little bit. But moving on to team 3. Or no, Vincent, you want to take one?
So 12 is small intestine.
12, small intestine. Yes. Ding, ding, ding.
I mean, it's right.
All right, now team 3. What'd you say? Oh, food. They said poo. It's like, I don't think that's on there.
Wait, what?
Yeah, food becomes chyme or chyme
Chyme.
in the stomach. So the stomach essentially turns. Want to make sure it's not one of the vocab terms here. No, it's not. So when food enters your mouth, it becomes what's called a bolus, which just means ball. A ball of food that travels to your stomach. By the time it gets into your stomach, that ball gets kind of mixed up and becomes chyme or chyme. Team 4, next.
19 pancreas.
19 pancreas.
Yes.
Where's 19 on?
Where is 19?
Oh yeah, to break down fats.
Where is it? Oh.
Yeah, one of these accessory organs, of which the gallbladder is one, the pancreas is one, and another one that we'll see later. But team 5.
Who's gonna go for 14? Cecum?
14 is, yeah, cecum. It's, for us, pretty much a dead end, but for a lot of herbivores, it's sort of a little bit of a dead end in the large intestine. There's a big population of bacteria in there, which actually helps digest a lot of plant tissue that's harder to digest. It goes to the cecum, hangs out there a little while until it's ready to continue through the poop chute. 1A, team 1A, what do y'all want to do?
20 liver?
20, liver. Yes. Okay. 20, liver. Let's see. Let's kind of continue on this train of thought and put team 1B on the spot. What does it produce? Do y'all know by chance? The liver produces blank, which the gallbladder stores. Bile, yep. Yeah, so the liver, this is one that kind of some students get hung up on. The gallbladder just stores bile and then releases it into this next piece, but part of the small intestine. The liver is what actually produces the bile, though. All right, team 2, 2A.
The bile is secreted into the duodenum.
Yeah, the duodenum. Yeah, so it's essentially the first portion of the small intestine, which is broken up into 3 sections. All right, team 2, Vincent.
15 ileum.
15?
Yeah.
Where is this? Which did you put?
From large intestine?
Yeah.
Large intestine has 15, you said ileum?
Yeah.
Not exactly. Anyone else get 15 filled in?
I can tell you where ileum is.
Okay, yeah, we'll come back to, yeah, hold that thought then. Colon, yes.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I was right, that was
the
close.
colon has these 3 sections. The large intestine is divided into 3 sections. It has a colon. So yeah, so team 4, do y'all want to take the next one? We're almost there. We can do this. 8 is stomach, yeah. From esophagus to stomach. Okay, let's kind of run through these now. Team 5.
27 absorb water.
Functions to absorb water, yeah, primarily absorbing water. We'll kind of talk about some misconceptions. The small intestine also absorbs water, but your book kind of makes it confusing. Team 1A.
7 is ileum.
7?
Yeah.
7 is ileum, you say?
Yes.
Somebody else want to fight that? Longitudinal
What?
muscles, yeah.
That's like.
Okay.
So, yeah, one of these muscles, we'll actually see the longitudinal muscles really well in the fetal pig in 1102. All right, 1B.
24 is alien.
24 is ileum, that's right. Yeah, one of those sections of the small intestines, all of them ending in So if you're thinking about it, remember that the small intestines, all 3 of them end in
Yeah, 24, right? Isn't it?
24 ileum, yes. Team 2.
10 cardiac sphincter.
10 cardiac sphincter, yeah. The cardiac sphincter, which is the kind of top sphincter of the stomach, separating the esophagus from the stomach. Team 2, Vincent?
16, I put transverse.
Yeah, transverse. The 3 columns, transverse, ascending, and descending colons. Transverse. Okay, we've just got a couple left. Team 3.
2 producing amylase.
Yeah, we forgot about producing amylase over here, too. That's what those salivary glands are there for. Team 4.
Number 5.
Tongue, yes. The tongue manipulates that food and turns it into what we call that volus shape. Team 5.
25 mesentery.
Whoa! Yeah. Yeah. 5 is the mesentery. We'll see that really well in both the frog and the pig, and it also just kind of protects the organs in general, keeps them from getting punctured. Back around to 1. I think, is there only 1 left?
I think, yeah.
2 left.
Wait, which ones are left?
There is. Oh wait, no, we have
It's just
penis
one.
already.
It's just 1.
Yeah, just 1 left.
Which is, which one?
That second section. It rhymes with bajunum. Jejunum. Yeah, all those small intestine regions end in duodenum, jejunum, and ileum.
I kind of want to play back
All right.
that video.
We got it.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. I'll bring this back up at the beginning of class on Monday, so we can all kind of see that. But make sure you hold on to this, take pictures of it, because, yeah, this is basically all the digestive system vocab.
It would be cool, like, if we were to fill it out
Oh yeah, Monday we've got the IRA.
without help.
So it covers plant nutrition and digestion, but there's also a little bit of circulatory system stuff too.
It would be cool. And
So-
like, we could like assign certain